What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel as you tune in and you check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on Ja Morant, right? Everybody know that Ja Morant is not really having like a good season in with the Memphis Grizzlies, and now reports say that Ja Morant, like the team is shopping him around, which I'm not surprised. I said 2 years ago, once Ja Morant got started getting into trouble and then missing time because of injuries and stuff like that, the way he played, he kind of reckless. He goes to the board recklessly, and so he stays hurt. Right. And I said, man, I think I was telling people, and people say, you crazy. Ja Morant's, he sells seats and stuff, he put butts in the seats. But he is a highlight. Watching Ja Morant, he is a highlight. But it's not just about highlights. It's about winning. Like, you got to get your team to the playoffs, and then you got to have success in the playoffs. That's the thing. And then when you've been in the league for so many years, expectations go up, and people want to see you do more than just be a scorer because they get bored with that. You become one dimensional, and that's why I said, like, some of these young players get complacent when they come into the league. They just happy that they made it. They got their money. They get to hang out with the young ladies after the games and stuff was over with. And so now, you think you got everything. You in the league. You got a good job. You getting paid, and you getting attention from the young ladies, right? But after a while, like I said, expectations goes up. Teams are expecting you to step into the leadership role. They're expecting you to get better as a professional basketball player. And I didn't see Ja Morant leaning towards that, at least a couple years ago, right? So now that people are talking about possible trades and destinations, one of the destinations that people come up with is the Miami Heat. And I heard somebody else say on a different podcast that, oh yeah, the Miami Heat organization will be good for Ja Morant, which I agree. But will Ja Morant be good for the Miami Heat? Like, do he fit the Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra way of doing things? Can you team him with Bam Adebayo and think that he's going to play their way, their style? Be like because in Miami, Pat Riley and it's like it's team first. Is they don't want like the style of play where you just have like one superstar player just jacking up a whole bunch of shots. That's not Pat Riley is old school, right? Pat Riley is used to playing, his players playing a certain way, and that's not what Ja Morant do. Ja Morant likes to be he likes to be the show or the center of attention. And Pat Riley, if it's going to work for the team like it did with LeBron James, then yeah, you can come, you can do that. But and at least for a little while, because even then, Pat Riley wants you to know that like we still have a way of doing things, and I'm running the show. Ja Morant think he's not happy in Memphis. Just imagine playing for an old school guy like Pat Riley. I don't know who what he think he's getting himself into, but I don't think he fits in Miami. He just don't have that type of mindset and that type of temperament. Now, at least to this point, he hasn't demonstrated that, right? So if he has the mindset, well, all right, I'm gonna go to Miami and I'm gonna just get myself together, and I'm going to, I'm going to buy into the Pat Riley program. Because that's exactly what he would have to do. He would have to buy into that Pat Riley program, that Miami program, and that would be great for his career, because now he'll be taking his game to another level. He'll be expected to make his teammates better, and that'll make him a better player, right? And he'll probably have more success. I was, and I think that because he was in Memphis, earlier in his career, they was trying to. It seemed like the league was trying to make Ja Morant like the face of the league, right? Until he started having some of the off court issues. So maybe he is to the point where he said, "Man, I left some money on the table. I missed out on the opportunity. That'd be cool if that's the kind of mindset he wants to go to Miami. He wanted, that's the approach that he want to take. And he would probably have to sit down with Eric Spoelstra and Pat Riley and explain that to him. Be like, look, man, I made some mistakes. Have some accountability and say, but I want to come here and I want a fresh start and I want to change. But if that's not his mindset and he just want to go there because he think that he can be the center of attention, then the Miami thing is not going to work out for him. You got, like I said, you got those veterans there who everybody has just bought into that program, and you can't play for Miami unless you are you bought into that program. I think that, if that's the case, he would probably have to go to like one of the bottom teams in the league and just go there and put up some numbers and stuff like that and be happy like that. But a team, like a team like Miami, even if they're not having any team success, they're not going to the championship every year, you still got to play the right way over there. And that's what I like about Pat Riley and that Miami organization is the way that they play. Win or lose, they just do things right. And there's no pressure on Pat Riley or Eric Spoelstra. Like, you never hear about their jobs, being on the line, because management know that, they play the right way. And anytime you play the right way, whether you have the amount of talent as everybody else in the league, that'll always keep you in contention, right? That'll always keep you in contention, which in a way is a bad thing, because the Miami Heat don't really they always at least in the middle of the pack or the top 2/3, right? Which means that they don't get a high draft choice. They get a middle of the pack player. So, and they coach them up. So then they in like the top 2/3 of the league, right? So that's one of the downfalls of doing things the right way. You kind of get penalized for doing things the right way, but ownership seems to understand it. Don't have a problem with Pat Riley doing things, the way he do it, and it's working for them. But I just think that this guy, Ja Morant, man, is not going to, again, unless he has had like a change of, he had an epiphany, and he's saying that, man, I know, the Miami Heat will make me a better player. Then you go there, a change of scenery, and that can work out for him. But if you don't have that right mindset and you're trying to go to the Miami Heat, then you are going to really, you're wasting Pat Riley time. You're wasting the Miami Heat time, and you wasting your time. If you just want to go somewhere and put up some numbers, then like I said, you can go to one of the teams that are not really having a lot of success. Teams that traditionally don't do well. Like, he can't go to the Wizards, right? Because now they already have they got Trae Young, and really, you definitely that backcourt would really be too small. Trae Young playing beside Ja Morant, now they'll be fun to watch. They probably wouldn't win a lot of games. They'll get some highlights, from Ja Morant. They'll have some highlights. Then Trae, he'll have some highlights on alley oops and stuff like that. But they probably won't win a lot of games. So if you're the Wizards, you definitely don't want to. One, small player is enough. For Ja Morant, I think Ja Morant might be 6'2", but that's still, you got a 6'2" guard with a playing side by side with a like a 5'11" guard, right? That wouldn't work and for the Wizards. So I don't know, they might do it. But yeah, I mean, he got it. Wherever he go, man, I just hope that he just focus on becoming a better professional basketball player. I think he only like 26 years old, so he still has some time, you know, to get himself together. So that's my take on it. Y'all make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'm going to check you all out in the next video. Peace.